What is going on YouTube? Yet again with another handheld video magic thing going on we got here. I wanted to let you know that today will not be about my broken Datsun, and thank you so much for the nice comments you left in the previous video, because there's nothing better than just consistently being called because it just really solidified how I felt after I'd gotten home that night. But today we're going to talk about this. So after my last video, the talk about the Mercedes was huge, and I wanted to touch back on it because I got a ton of comments from everybody saying that they wanted to know, what the exhaust was, where I got it, things like that, if I liked it, the reliability, all that good stuff that a potential E55 owner would want to know, and something that the YouTube community would probably love to argue over. So I am here to talk to you about my 2004 E55 AMG. So starting off, I got this car about a year ago. After building the Datsun and getting it repainted, I was just so fed up with trying to build a car, and I wanted to go out there, get a car that was fast, reliable, that I could daily drive, that had just a good, exhaust note, and something that was just a blast without being too crazy. And this is it. It's one of those cars that you don't know all the fun little things that it has until you own it, until you really start researching it, or until you're in the market to find one. And mine is a 2004, like I had discussed. It has an E63 front clip. It's why it looks a little bit more aggressive than your stock E55 AMG. It just has the more angled headlights. It's got the front fascia that's been redone, and it just looks a little bit better than I would say the stock, but obviously the stock still looks good if that's something that you're looking to get into. The car was painted with an aftermarket paint that's called Tektite Gray, and it was repainted using a PPG ceramic clear, which is a ceramic enhanced super hard clear coat that's flame resistant to like 1700 degrees or 1800 degrees, which I don't know why. It's like having injectors that can handle 2000 horsepower. Do you need it? No. Is it cool to talk about and brag about? Yes. Another thing that usually gets mentioned is that the car just doesn't look stock, and I think that has to do with the fenders. All four fenders and quarters were actually flared out and cut and then repainted and redone, as you can see in the side here, to fit the wheels and to just make it look more aggressive. That is why it looks a little bit wider in the back. Probably not something most people are used to, but again, just another one of those subtle things that made me really fall in love with the car. It's got a Ceramic Pro Gold package that's installed. It has a lifetime warranty, which I love. DTM style flat bottom steering wheel, the E63 headlights. They were actually modified by Circuit Demon to run LED turn signals. It's got the black chrome housings as well. It actually has Porsche Panamera HID shrouds with the HIDs that glow. It also has the grille painted black chrome, the bumper, everything in the front is all painted black chrome. The wheels are niche Targa wheels, or niche, however the hell you want to pronounce it. But the fronts are 19 by 10s, and then the backs are 19 by 11s. All of the wheels are actually painted to match the aftermarket paint of the calipers, which are copperhead orange. The paint on the wheels is actually root beer. Obviously that's pretty subjective depending on who you go to paint your wheels. It's just a real strong, bronzy, flaky gold brown. So I like it a lot. As we look inside, all the interior wood trim was also painted the Tektite Gray, just so that it all flowed together really nice. It has a Met Beltronics STI-R Plus integrated radar system. It's actually wired through the car with a rear view mirror illumination. It also has lowering links and then some tire graphics that have fallen off the car over the past year. Probably the more important thing that you're wondering is, what is the performance modifications? And for those that own E55s and for those looking to own E55s, I want to say this. The car doesn't really need any sort of performance modifications. The car itself is extremely quick and extremely fast bone stock. In fact, I think I talked about it in a previous video that stock E55s still walk in the quarter mile faster than a Chevy Camaro 2SS 6-speed. Brand new. Getting back to the modification list. So it's got a supercharger underdrive pulley, Johnson intercooler, pump. It's got an SL65 throttle body. It's got an AEM methanol injection plumbed into the intake manifold. The pump and the reservoir are actually in the trunk. It's got a WiseTech ice box mounted in the trunk as well that's plumbed into the heat exchanger. For the final notes, obviously the exhaust is something you guys wanted to know about. It has the MBH headers, MBH X pipe, and MBH high flow cats. I do have the test pipes, but I've never really wanted to put them on just because I love how quiet it is when I'm cruising, and then obviously when I get on it, it just screams and it sounds amazing. It has a custom Eurocharge dyno tune that's stage 2 technically, a My Genius tuner that actually flops between race maps and stock maps for vehicle inspections, although in Wisconsin nobody gives a as well as adjustable caster bushings. So what do I like about this car the most? And I think that it breaks down into reliability, performance, and overall aesthetic. I mean, it's an amazing car. It's something where I think that you have to pay to play, because if you're not okay with paying more for tires, for radiators, for just the basic fundamental things, this is not the car for you. However, it is the car for me because I love shit like this. Everything about the car just flows together perfectly, and I feel like with my E55 and the modifications that it has, it is the perfect vehicle for me. There's an individual that on YouTube that actually said that it was brutally beautiful, and I agree with that 100%. One thing to remember about Mercedes-Benz, and the reason that I love this car so much, is because of what you got right out of the box. And as long as you weren't overpaying for it, you were definitely getting something that was really cool. E55s aren't depreciating any more than they already have. They're pretty much flatlining, and at this point there's a lot of other cars that are doing the same. If you look at a C5 Corvette, if you look at a Nissan 350 or even 370Z, they're doing the same exact thing. So for me, when you look in terms of a budget performance vehicle, an E55 is perfect. It's not as expensive as you think, it's not as unreliable as you think, and it's not as ugly as you think. It's going to walk almost every single one of its competitors in a straight line. It's going to look better, in my opinion, than most other coupes. And I think that even with the extra doors and the fact that it's a Mercedes-Benz, I think it still looks pretty good.